So good afternoon and welcome to this month's Foresight lecture. This is, I think, now number 45 of the lectures that we've been doing with the Foresight program over the last many years. Some incredible speakers that we've had with us over that time, and today is actually going to be no different. We actually have a wonderful lady with us here today who's going to be sharing some of her wealth of knowledge in how to grow, how to develop your business, and how to get that marketing right. And I love the title of this lecture about picking the right winning horse. And last weekend we had here in the United Kingdom the largest horse race in the country throughout the year, called the Grand National. And a lot of people, even people who don't gamble normally, bet on the Grand National race. And it's just one of those kind of things that you put a £10 on it and you hope. But it's all about choosing the right horse. And how do you choose the right horse? How do you know what's going to work right for you? How do you know how they're feeling that day? How do you know that the circumstances and the environment is going to be right for that particular race? And I guess looking at what Natalie's going to be talking about is a little bit around that. Is how do you get that marketing right to work for you at the time that you want it to work for you? So I'm enthralled. I'm looking forward to hearing from Natalie and learning how to get my marketing right, because we market all the time as well. So without any further ado, Natalie, over to you.
Thank you very much for that warm introduction, Colin, and it's a pleasure to be here and be of service to your audience. And you took the words right out of my mouth, because I wanted to start with a question, which I will now, as to how many of you ever bet at a horse race?
Well, I do, certainly.
You did? I mean, those of you that don't have a camera, I don't know, there's some tools, or actually put it in the chat. You can type me so I can see where you guys are at. So if you're picking a champion, like you said before, Colin, how do you pick a champion? How do you know which horse is the right horse to bet on? Any ideas to that, Colin?
No, to be honest, I don't, and I'm not a horse racing person, so I don't. So often I look at the odds sometimes and say, well, that sounds like a good odds. So there's a lot of other people thinking it's a good winner. Or I look at maybe the form, if I'm really going to be that interested in it. I look at the weather, and no, it's I guess there's many things you could look at. But do I investigate fully? No, I don't think I do.
You don't? Okay, very interesting. So Eva says she never bet. And that's also interesting. Why? Why didn't you ever bet? But when we come back to marketing, there are certain components to make marketing work. And the same thing when you're picking a champion, you're trying to pick a champion, there are certain components to picking a champion. First of all, of course, you can see the past races and you can see the stakes and the weather and all the likes. And the reason why I wanted to make that analogy of marketing and a horse is because of that famous quote a marketer made when they were asking him, how come you always have above 90% success rate with your campaigns? And he said, I just always bet on the fastest horse. And the truth and the wisdom behind that is what we're going to analyze today. How can you make your marketing horse work well? Because sometimes a horse has a good performance, sometimes it has a bad performance, and sometimes our marketing, we put it out with the best intentions, but it just doesn't work. Or maybe we haven't included the core components of really well-working marketing. So over the next 50 minutes, I want to share with you how to actually do this right and how to get your chances up a lot higher when you put out a marketing campaign, because it's always time, money, and energy that you're investing in marketing campaigns. Understand why it might not have worked for you in the past if you have done marketing campaigns. Apply some simple tools and strategies and also numbers that you can utilize to see how to adjust and make it better. And then in essence, it's about growing your business so you can get more high quality leads, conversations, sales, and whatever it is that you're doing in your business. I mean, how many of you own your own business in here? Can you type that in the chat as a me?
Well, certainly me.
Okay, Colin owns his own business. And when you own your own business, I mean, making marketing work for you is just a tool for business growth, because there's only so much you can do with your own network and referrals and people referring people to you. So you need to be applying some kind of marketing strategy to grow your business. If you want to grow your business, if you're not already booked to capacity. Okay, so Neil says me. Interesting. Could you type in the chat as well what kind of business? Is it an expertise business, meaning coaches, consultants, trainer, teacher, anything of the likes? So over the next 15 minutes, we're going to dive into these 3 core pillars. Life coaching. Okay, so perfect. Yes, expertise business. Thank you, Eva. And Sunil as well, coaching. And as to you, Colin, what is the main business you're also teaching, or?
Yeah, I mean, being part of Noble Manhattan Coaching, which is a coach training organization. The other division that we have is the Alpha Group, which is a peer-to-peer organization where we help SME businesses to grow, to develop, and get their marketing right, I guess, in many ways.
Okay, very good. Thank you. So what we're going to do is we're going to analyze these 3 core pillars. So first of all, how to make compelling offers work really well for cold audiences. Because one of the mistakes people make is when they work with warm audiences, people that they know, that they like, and people that trust them already, or people that other people refer to them, they try to translate what they do with a warm audience to cold audience, and it's a totally different animal. So there's 5 core components that I'll share with you how to make it work for cold audiences. And if it works for cold audiences, it's going to work super well for warm audiences. Number 2, we're going to look at an AI tool that we personally use, because often we put something out there we think is the right thing, the right topic, the right words, but our audience thinks differently. And there's a really cool AI tool that we personally use that shows you what the market is actually talking about in terms of your topic. And then number 3, we're going to look at some data and systems. Even though it's not my favorite topic, it's a very necessary topic when it comes to marketing. You need to analyze your numbers. You need to make sure it's data-driven and not feelings-driven. I have a hunch this might work, but you look at the metrics, you look at the numbers, and you look at what works, and then you just do more of what works. That's the key to growing.
I'd like to call that hope marketing.
Yeah, the hope marketing. Thank you.
I hope it's going to work.
It's not a very solid business foundation, unfortunately.
Not really.
All right, so that's pretty much what we're going to cover. And please feel free to ask any questions at any time. Even though you're not on camera here, you can type it in the chat, but I have it open here so I can watch, because this is about you. It's not about me. It's about you, understanding or getting something out of it, out of value, because you're investing your valuable time here. So thank you very much for being here. And before we begin, I'd like to share 1 or 2 minutes worth of why I do what I do and how it is I came about to do this. Is that okay?
Sounds good to me.
Yes. All right. Let me share my
I'm answering for everybody.
Yeah, you're the voice. You're the voice of the room today, Colin.
Indeed.
So what I did was as I was 24 years, at the age of 24, I started my first business doing accounting, number crunching, and I've done this business for 25 years, which was not something I loved doing. It was just something I was good at naturally. People do not like that type of work often, and so I made a pretty nice, decent business for myself at the age of 24. And the reason why I started this business was because I love freedom. I love freedom. I didn't want to have a lid on my income. I wanted to be my own boss, choose who I work with, when, what, why. And freedom was very much aligned with having my own business as a solopreneur. And then 3 years later down the road, I started a second business. I got a little feisty and I thought, wow, this worked well. Let me just do a new venture. And I started raising and breeding Arab horses. So that's another analogy that I have with horses and marketing and all the likes. Marketing horses is one of the toughest things you can do. And I started that business because it was my passion. I absolutely love horses. I still have 4 horses on my property, and I was raising and breeding them, and I had breeding stallions, and I was trading horses and riding school and all the things revolving around horses. The one key problem, though, was that horses are very hungry, so they needed to eat every single day, and they eat a lot. And in Switzerland, everything is very, very expensive. This is where I'm based. And then what I had to do is I had to start selling horses. And selling horses is a really tough thing to sell, because every horse is unique. There's different sizes, different temperaments, different colors, different age, different training. And then on top of that, every horse has a personality, and sometimes they're in the mood and sometimes they're not in the mood. So when you're trying to match that buyer with the horse and that horse has just a bad day, it's just bad luck. So it was very tough. That's how I learned how to sell. And then the business didn't work because of various reasons. I was very young. I had no business experience. I had real business. I mean, the solopreneur business is not really a business where I had 2 or 3 ongoing clients. I didn't have to market. I didn't have to sell in the bookkeeping. And I had to juggle a lot of things. And then I was married at that time, had 2 small kids, had to juggle 2 businesses, the marriage, the kids, the farm, the horses, had to let go of my staff. And it was just a tough time. So the marriage went down the drain and I was by myself. And one Sunday, I remember I sit at the table. I said, look, I need to do something else. So I started reading books. That was my plan. Books about business, books about marketing, books about personal development. But time was not my friend because it took about 8 years to turn this whole horse business mess around. It was a depth, big time. And then I came across my first personal development training. That was my first I got to work on myself in order to make other things work. Founded the Victory Log, which is the legal entity of outbound marketing. Traveled the world. My second aha was meeting mentors. Okay, there's other people out there that have done what I want to do. Let me get someone to help me. That's Blair Singer. I don't know how many of you know Blair Singer. Anybody? Colin? Okay, good. And my daughter on the left. And then I started speaking on stages, and that was the third aha. Okay, I need to be visible, because if I'm the world's best kept secret, I know I can help people with their business at the time. I need to be visible. I started conducting my own workshops, did some TV shows. And basically, the mission behind what we do today is it started as a teaching company, teaching people business development, then merged into a little bit more done for you company with the outbound marketing, because a lot of people want us to do the marketing for them, which is not their strong suit, which totally makes sense. Focus on what you're strong at. And the mission of this outbound marketing agency now is we help experts to add more value to this planet by increasing your market share. I have the assumption, and I know for a fact, that every single expert, including all of you in this room, you have a lot of value to give. And when you have more clients, you have a bigger market share, you can essentially make more out of what's there. You can add more value to the people, the businesses that you work with. And this is the funny thing about adding value, it gets exponentially more. So 2 + 2 doesn't equal 4, but it equals 10 when you're adding value, because not only the people you touch will get something out of it, but the people that they touch, in essence. I mean, if you go for the example for life coaching, if you help someone get his or her life in order, they will be a better husband, a better wife, a better friend, a better partner, a better businessman, a better father, mother, brother, sister, and they will touch other people's lives and they will create that ripple effect. So that's what drives me and us with the marketing agency. Any questions as to my background at this point? So let's continue with the core topics. And first, I want to start with 7 reasons why outbound marketing. Outbound marketing meaning that you actively market yourself, which could be ads, which could be messaging, which could be emailing people, cold calling people, actively reaching out to people, why that might not have worked for you in the past, if you have done that before. So it's out of curiosity, how many of you ever did outbound marketing where you created ads? Yes? Colin?
Yeah, I've done some of that for sure.
You've done that, okay. As opposed to inbound marketing, which is mainly, being passive, having content on social media, hoping people would respond to that, this sort of thing.
Yeah, we do a bit of that as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's complementary. It's not one or the other. But outbound marketing just puts you more in control because you're the driver. If you're just putting something out and you wait for something to happen, or if you're on a platform as a life coach and then you wait for people to reach out to you, that's also inbound and passive. Okay, so Eva says no, and Sunil says not yet. Okay, good. So you can start on a fresh green grass to build your house. That's great. So the 7 reasons in our experience why marketing and lead generation might not have worked for you in the past, speaking about active marketing. So number one is you might have had a low match to market ratio, meaning that what you put out there only resonates with a low percentage of the market that you're addressing. And I'll talk more about that in a little bit. Number two is when your topic is too broad. I cannot count how many times I meet someone in a seminar or in a sales conversation or in a conversation at a networking meeting. I ask, what do you do? And then they start and they end and finish at 20 minutes later because there's so many things that they can do. And that's the same that reflects when you go on their website or you look at their social media profile. So they can do team building, they can do leadership, they can do personal development, they can do relationships, whatever, but it's very, very broad. So nobody really feels spoken to. It's another reason why, and when your marketing message reflects that, nobody really feels spoken to. They're like, oh, wow, that's great. They're going to give you a pat on your shoulder, but they're not going to respond favorably to your marketing.
Yeah, you must be specific, don't you?
Yes, when it's too broad, especially because, look, experts, Colin, I don't know if you agree with me, we love to learn. I don't know about you, but I do. I love to read, I love to learn. So there's many things that we could do. There's many things we're skilled at. There's many things we learned we could share, but it's not how marketing works, unfortunately. Number three is wrong targeting. So you might have a good offer or message, but the wrong audience. That doesn't resonate. Number four, lack of creativity. If you're same, and just like everybody else, it's not going to be a very compelling marketing. It's not going to be a very outstanding marketing because people will not feel like, oh, this is a USB. This is really great. I need to really talk to this person. Number five is also that if the offer is not tangible, where people cannot really say, okay, this is exactly what I'm getting. This is exactly what I need. I know exactly what this is all about. Number six is if it's too complex, invasive, and complicated, meaning it takes you a long time to explain what you do, to explain the benefits. If it's too invasive, meaning with a cold audience, if they don't know you and you go and you offer a 12-month program that's going to turn their whole company upside down, they will hesitate because they don't know you. They haven't worked with you before. So that would be very invasive. Change all their processes, change the teams, change whatever. A very invasive offer right from the start as a compelling offer to a cold audience that doesn't know you simply doesn't work well. Or you have a very long sales cycle, meaning you take 9, 12 months to sell that. And number seven is no clear, compelling offer. So you need to be able to pitch what you do in 2 or 3 minutes or less. People don't have the time to listen to it for 20 to 30 minutes, unfortunately. So that's what we're going to take a look at first. So part one is the 5 core components of compelling offers. Are there any questions up to this point? No, thumbs up. Okay.
Just one question to Colin. We are going to get recording of this, right?
Yep, we will absolutely. That's why we asked you to register so that we can get you the slide deck and the recording out to you probably first thing tomorrow morning.
Sure. Thank you.
Am I going too fast, Sunil? Should you want me to slow down? No?
Sorry, that's good. I don't want to take note now. I will take it later.
Oh, okay. Yeah, perfect. All right. So let's start with the 5 components. Compelling offers. And this might be insightful for you if you've run marketing campaigns or if you are intending to do that. So number 1 is you have to have a high match to market ratio. And why this picture? If your market were toddlers at the age of, let's say, 1 to 2 years, and your product you were selling would be chocolate cakes, you would have a high match to market ratio because I would guarantee 98% of the toddlers love chocolate cake. Their parents might not agree. They might not like them eating chocolate cake, but they certainly would agree. So that would be a super high match to market ratio with your offer to your market. And what I want to do next, because I think this is a super high, this is a super important part, and it goes right into the saying of that famous marketer, bet on the fastest horse. If you're putting something out there that only a small percentage of the market will like and want, then chances of you being successful are just much, much smaller. And we're going to do a little exercise to assess, if possible, if you're already working with people, what your match to market ratio looks like currently. A little exercise, if you guys are okay with that, because I found that active learning and participating helps you, first of all, remember more, and secondly, fall asleep less.
Don't think there's anyone falling asleep here.
Okay, we'll do a little exercise, and feel free to ask questions as to the steps or share what you wrote or what you noted. So please take a piece of paper if possible and write that down, or on your computer, the answers to that question. So who's your ideal client? And just go really rough, broad, and you don't have to be super specific. Could be CEOs of mid-sized companies, could be single moms, could be executives, C-level, could be entrepreneurs, could be solopreneurs. Who's your ideal client? Please type yes in the chat if you have an answer.
Yep.
Okay, very good. Sunil and Eva, if you don't have an ideal client yet and you don't know, then Eva, then make something up, just for the sake of this exercise.
Or who do you think your ideal client might be?
Yeah, or think, if you knew what it was, would you?
If you know what your product is, of course.
Yeah, of course. So what is the biggest pain? So let's take, I'm going to use my example. So our clients are expert businesses, coaches, consultants, teacher, trainers, speaker, agencies, software companies, service-based companies. They're our ideal client. What's their biggest pain? In our case, they always come to us because they don't have enough leads and clients. So they come to us for business development. That's their biggest problem. If you don't have enough, it's like the lifeblood is missing to their business. So what is it for you? Do you have an answer to that? Yes? Okay. Higher income individuals who are focused on self-development. Okay, very good, Eva. Okay. So you have an answer to the biggest pain. Please type I in the chat. If you have an answer, what is their biggest pain? Just imagine. Still exploring. Okay, good. Very important.
Yep.
Knowing your audience. So step number 3, what is your solution? So what is your solution? So in our case, we do lead generation. We help them get appointments. And we also do a little bit of sales trainings if they can convert those leads into sales. So what is your solution? Just really roughly. What is your solution? How to break through and achieve more in life, privately and professionally. Okay, very good. Life coaching sessions. Oh, 2 life coaches we have. Okay, good. So do you know?
Do you want us to type in the answers into the chat?
No, well, if you want, I mean, since it's such a small group, we can go, I mean, talk about it maybe a little bit, but I want to be mindful of the time too. Okay, now important for you, Eva, connect that to the pain. What is their biggest pain? That needs to be clear in your mind. How to get unstuck from growth. Okay, good. Now, when you're doing this little exercise, what is the biggest benefit of your solution? Make it about benefits for what their pain is. In our case, it's very easy because we do it for them. And we also have a done with you version. So where we do it with them, we show them how to do it, we give them feedback, they implement themselves. So the biggest benefit is ease, speed, and results for us. What is the biggest benefit of your solution? So in other words, how to get unstuck for growth, Sunil. Ask yourself, what is so great about that? What do they get out of it? What's the benefit? Or Eva, how to break through? What's so great about that? What are they going to be different? How are they going to feel different? What's going to be different for them? Visible growth. Okay, what's so great about visible growth? Dig deeper. The key lies in the depth and in the when you're really, really super clear. What is really in it for them? What does visible growth mean? Can they grow? Can they support their families better? Can they have a better lifestyle? Can they do what they love doing? Do they have passion for what they do? Do they love getting up in the morning? Can they afford to buy luxury things that they might want? What is the biggest benefit? And now you look at the alignment of the benefit with the pain on a scale of 1 to 10. What number would you give? So if my market's biggest pain is not enough leads and clients, and my biggest benefit is they get leads and clients, they're probably 100% aligned. It's 9 or 10 for me. What is it for you? On a scale of 1 to 10, how much is their pain aligned with your benefit? How much does your benefit and your solution solve their pain? Does everybody have a number? If you want to chat, type the number in the chat. You have an 8. Okay, very good. Sunil has a 7. Colin?
Mine's a 9 to 10.
Also 9 to 10. Okay, very good. And now the second question in terms of alignment, you can ask yourself. So if you imagine you were speaking in front of a room of 10 of your ideal clients, they would be sitting in the room with you, and you would be talking about your benefit and your solution and how it can help them in their pain. How many of those 10 people do you imagine would really nod and agree with you?
My experience, all of them.
All of them. Great.
What they do about it is another thing, but they would nod.
Well, still, if they nod, it's a clear sign that they agree with you.
Yeah.
So you resonate with the way you speak and the way you talk to them. Also, all of them. Very good. So that's a 10. And then Sunil. Most of them. Okay, well, put a clear number to it. So either it's a 9, a 10, a 7, an 8. Because the last part of this exercise is you do the average of number 5 and 6, and this would be your match to market ratio. So if it's an 8, it would be an 80% match to market ratio, which is great. If it's 90, it's great. If it's 100, it's even greater. So that means what you do really aligns well with your market. It really fits into their pain scenario. It really makes sense for them to engage with you. And if it doesn't, then can you find something that aligns more with your market and with your market's pain? Because that will already get you started on a much higher level when you start with the marketing. Does that make sense? Okay, good. Well, let's move to the second component. Especially in the expertise business, make sure you create a clear outcome package for them when you are about offering something, which is also another thing that a lot of people, especially life coaches, do not do. So you need to focus on outcomes and not commodities. What do I mean by that? A commodity, by definition, is a basic good used in commerce that is interchangeable with other goods of the same type, like sessions. So too many life coaches are selling sessions or packages of sessions. Hey, I'm going to sell you 5 sessions for £1,000, 10 sessions for £1,500, and it's a commodity because they can easily compare what you do with what somebody else does. Oh, so that means 5 sessions at £1,000, £200 a session, but someone else is offering the same thing for £120, so I'm going to go with that guy. So it becomes a commodity where people can easily compare, just like buying a liter of milk. Many stores offer that, and there's different prices, and maybe there's bio, or whatever else you have brands, but still it's a commodity. Apples is a commodity. You can buy apples everywhere. If you're positioning your business around a commodity offer, it becomes easy for people to compare, it becomes easy for people to say no, and you're not going to stand out. And also commodity offers are always lesser priced because people can compare prices easily. As in, if you have an outcome package, hey, I'm going to help you get 15 conversations with your ideal clients within 3 months after we created your compelling offer. That's a clear outcome, 15 conversations and a really compelling offer to put in front of them. What is it with you for life coaching? What is it? What could be the outcome that these people are after? And we're going to talk a little bit more about outcome and how to identify that in a little bit. Because again, this compelling offer component will make your marketing horse already a champion when it goes into the box to get started, because you have something compelling that people want. And that's something that everybody else has too. Number 3 is simplicity. So often it takes me seriously 20 to 30 minutes to understand the offer that someone's trying to explain to me, because we know a lot, we do a lot, and we can explain different things. And when we get started with our value, we get very passionate, and we start from, Adam and Eve and up to the 21st century, and people get overwhelmed. So the simple things, okay, this is what we got. Here it is, and I can explain it to you in 2 or 3 sentences. One of my role models, Einstein's number 1 rule of work: out of clutter, find simplicity. There is a certain majesty in simplicity, which is far above all the quaintness of wit. In character, in manners, in style, in all things, the supreme excellence is simplicity. How beautifully said. 100% agreed. And when it comes to business, this is super, super important. Just keep that in mind. And try to explain what you do to a 6-year-old. When you do that and he doesn't get it, or she, it's not simple.
Yeah, I do it all the time with my son. He's 12 years old. So if he doesn't get it, there's no chance of anybody else getting it.
Exactly, yes. And when you speak on stages, you need to speak as if your audience were 6-year-olds. Not to mean this in a demeaning way, but just people are not familiar with your topic. You need to explain this in layman terms and simple, benefit-driven for them to get it.
I agree. No jargon. I think a lot of people put jargon into their messages, and you're like, if you have to go, what does that mean? I think you've kind of lost it.
Exactly. Yeah, you lose the audience.
Yeah.
What for? Just to look good in front of them? That's not important. What's important is, do they get it?
Do they get it? Indeed.
And one of the tools that we use in my business, and that I use personally whenever we create a marketing campaign or anything for our clients, is called selling with models. And we use the magic of 3. So we use a triangle. Whenever I create a new marketing campaign for a client, I use a triangle, and I really focus on, okay, because the triangle has 3 sides. I need to be simple. I need to force myself to be simple. I need to force myself to make it easy and clear. So I start with a bullseye, and I don't start with what I have or what the client has, but I start with, what do they really want? What does the audience really want? And what do they also know they want? Which is another thing. Okay, they want business growth, so they know that. Okay, but do they know that they might need to work on themselves to have business growth? No, they don't know that. So don't go out with that. Don't go leading with something they don't know they want. So you start with the bullseye, what they want, and just imagine this would be a chapter of your book. So for my audience, what they want lead systems. They want systems to systematically generate leads and conversations for them so they can, create some recurring revenue. So if this was the title of the book, let's say my title would be Lead Systems, how to build really good lead systems. Then we have the 3 sides of this triangle would be 3 sub-chapters of this book. So what are 3 parts of getting really good lead systems in place? Now you can do the same thing for your own when we're done here. We don't have time to do this now, but start with what they really want, a bullseye. I'll share with you 3 keys on how to make that work well. And then break it down into 3 components. So for us, lead systems to work well, first of all, compelling offer, that's the basic foundation. Secondly, you need to have leads, and then you need to have sales, and you need to have conversions. These are the 3 components. So start thinking about it. Maybe draw a triangle, which will force you to only keep it to very bare minimum. And what would be the bullseye? What would be the title of your book? And what would be the sub-chapters? Always from the audience's perspective. What do they want? And when you're looking at a bullseye, it needs to be simple. It needs to be easy to understand. And it needs to be short. The best is 1 to 3 words. Or in other words, going back to that exercise we did before, when you would be talking about this bullseye, 10 out of 10 of your audience should be nodding and understanding what you mean. Should not be something that you need to explain. So if I talk about building lead systems, most of my audience gets what that means. Okay, building a system to get leads where I don't have to work so hard. Any questions to this part?
All good for me, very clear.
Okay. Number 4 of compelling offers that work for cold audiences, it has to be tangible. People have to really grasp it, really know, okay, this is what this means. And any kind of expertise business can make their offer tangible. I'll give you a couple of examples for tangibility. So a number of certain outcomes, clients, leads, appointments in our case, could be one a tangible component. It doesn't apply to every business. It doesn't apply to every expertise. But another one could be a percentage of increase of something, revenue or skill set. Could be an increase in confidence if you're doing life coaching. Could be increase in revenue if you're doing business coaching for growth. Or a percent of decrease of something. For example, less people running away from the company. So think about it. What could this be for you? And if you're doing skill set coaching or life coaching where you help people get their lives in order, it could be percentage of happiness. How often are you happy every day? And then you can use a scale of 1 to 10. Okay, and when I start with you, I'm a 3 out of 10 in terms of happiness. And then by the end of our sessions, I'm a 6 out of 10. So that already makes it tangible. That make sense?
Yep.
So often people come to us and they say, hey, but I'm doing, personality coaching, or I'm doing, leadership coaching. How can I make this tangible? You can make everything tangible. Just think a little differently. Think about what is the change? Where are you going to lead them? It's always a process usually with the expertise. They start here, they go there. How are you going to help them get better? At what are they going to get better? And what would be a number that you could put to that?
Yeah, when I speak to some people as well, it's I use that tangible or at least a bold, audacious goal. And the example I use is often people say, well, what's your goal? And they say, I want to reduce staff attrition next year, which is great. It's a great goal, but you only have to do one less person leaving the company, and you've achieved the goal. But if you were to make it tangible by putting a percentage of attrition decrease, then it becomes a better goal and a better tangible offer that you're actually putting to whoever you're talking to. So putting a price on it, putting a level on it, putting an expectation on it, rather than it just being a open goal. So that's the way we look at it.
Absolutely. And putting a certain number to it will help them. So if you say you're going to be happier after we work together, you're going to be more fulfilled, as opposed to, hey, you're going to be 50% happier.
Sure.
And they're going to ask how you're going to measure that. I'm going to say, well, we're going to do an assessment before and we're going to do an assessment after, and we'll see. And I mean,
good.
100% guaranteed they will be better off after they work with you. So then number 5, and this is a nice little unknown secret, when you tap into the 8 life forces, and this is something that I learned from a book called Cashvertising, which is a really cool and fun read. Highly recommend you buy it. Let me see if I find it here. Oh, I could give you the author. I don't remember who wrote it. But what he talks about is the life forces, which are ingrained in human beings' DNA. And that's why this picture here, it's like gravity, it's a life force. And when you can add 1 or 2 of the components of the 8 life forces, which compel people to act, because it's a necessity, it's in their DNA, it's what makes us human, then you can increase and add a little extra spice to your offer. And not all of the 8 life forces might be applicable to you, but I'm just going to share them with you anyway, so you can get an idea what that means. So number 1 is survival, enjoyment, and extension. So this is one that is very big for life coaches. Enjoyment, extension, become bigger, become better, or business coaches survive in the business. When you can add that component and phrase what you're doing by adding that, hey, do you want to survive the next crisis with your business? Here's what you can do. Or do you want to enjoy life more for life coaches? Number 2 is food and beverages. It's a necessity. It's in our DNA. So let me say you're a gym owner and you have a restaurant. You want people to come. You say, are you famished after your workout? Come and enjoy our nutritious and healthy and whatever that. Number 3 is freedom of fear, pain, and danger. That's a big one. People always want to move away from pain and fear and danger. So as a life coach, that's also very, very applicable. Sex, which might not be applicable, although I had one client once who helped to have better intimacy. Comfort is a big one. Do you want your life to be easier? Do you want to just sit back, relax, and get leads or get appointments booked in your calendar? People want it easy and comfortable. Superiority, winning, keeping up with the Joneses. And I mean, luxury car, they tap into this one big time because people want to look good in front of others. Care and protection. Are your loved ones protected? Or protect your loved ones by having a substantial business where you can ensure that they can, enjoy the lifestyle that they used to.
Sustainability as well. Yes.
Say that again?
Sustainability of that.
Sustainability.
Protection
Yes.
for your family and loved ones.
Yeah. And social approval. People always want to be accepted, acknowledged, approved of, liked. So just think about it. You don't have to answer this now. Again, this might take some thinking and some contemplation. But if you can add that to your language, to your marketing message, it will help increase people who are interested in what you have. Any questions?
The book was called Tapping into the 8 Life Forces.
No, the book is called Cashvertising.
Cash what?
Let me put it in the chat.
Yeah, thank you.
You'll find it. Yeah, I'll look for it though. If you don't find it, well, let me check.
Lovely, thanks. I'll find it.
Yeah, put that in Amazon. You'll probably find it.
It'll be on Amazon for sure. Then.
Yeah, it's a very unique title. That's one thing he did.
I love reading, so anything that's new that's offered, then great. Well, I'll have a look at it.
Yeah. And these are very well kept secrets that big marketers are using. And I mean, if you know this, start looking for it on the billboards, in TV commercials, big brands. They all use this.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so recap. 5 core components of great offers. Number 1, high match to market ratio. Think of the chocolate and the toddlers. Have outcome packages, not commodity packages. Simplicity, keep it simple. Be able to explain it in 2 minutes or 3 minutes or less. Tangibility, make it tangible so people really see the value, something that they can relate to and grasp. Numbers work really well. And utilize 1 or 2 of the 8 life forces in your message, or maybe even in your product or in your outcome when you're talking to your ideal clients. All right, how are we with time? We got about 20 minutes left. Alan?
Yeah, plenty of time, whatever you need to do.
Okay, good. All right, so if you have any comments or questions, just please voice them. Otherwise, we'll move on. So number 2, once you have that offer and your audience and you know what it's about and the objective, you can use AI to check the market resonance. Because, thinking something and assuming something is one thing, but then actually looking, okay, what do they really want? I mean, one way, of course, is to talk to your audience, which is always the best way, I think. But to put you ahead of the game, you can use AI and see what is it that people are talking about in relation to my subject, and what is it that I need to put out there in terms of content on social media to support whatever outbound you do. Because when people come to check you out, they might want to see some content and what you're all about. And in terms of how do you phrase it? How do you name it? What kind of language do you use? And the tool we use here is, it's called Inference Cloud AI. Now, I mean, you can look it up and this is a high level tool. It's for companies it's not really suitable for small companies that are solopreneurs or that are just starting out, because it's quite pricey. So they have an offer that we discussed. It's a partner of ours, where they offer, if you have 5 users, I think it's $5,000 for 3 months to get access to the system. We do have a small service where we do this for our clients, or if you want me to do this for you, you can reach out. It's maybe $100 or so to do this for you. But here's how it works. And there's other tools out there. Just check for topic AI and tools that are out there. There might be even some free stuff out there. So the way you do this is you put it into some context. So this is just an example for one of our offers. So get more high value leads that convert for your expert business, build your own lead system so you can predictably enroll more clients. So this is just a little bit of context. So what would it be for you? So life coaching, growth, have a more sustainable business. Then you add some keywords. It suggests you some keywords. You add some that you think are good. You tell the software what kind of audience do you have, and you tell them the objective. Okay, generate awareness, see what people are talking about. And then you put the AI to work. It'll come up with some keywords here. And then you pick up to 50 that you think are applicable to your business. And then it will give you this, which for me, I think is super valuable, because often what we think is what people want is not what they want. And the way it works is ground zero here is the ideal. So distance to objective means, okay, how far away from our objective are those keywords? So digital marketing services are about at a 10 for us. And this is for the audience. So how far away from the audience are these keywords? So ideally, you want to talk about this. And this is what people are talking about. So this tool analyzes thousands of websites, social media platforms, chats, groups, interactions, what they do. And it takes a while. So this is just already a pre-designed one, so we can save time. But it will tell you. So then ideally, you stay in this quadrant. So this is what we will talk about. Agency lead generation, software as a lead generation, if we can, if it works for our business. Does that make sense?
Sure does.
And it's just about, again, you're increasing every step that you follow, you're increasing the chances of your marketing resonating really well with the market. And then, of course, you spend less. You need less conversations for a sale. You need less ad budget for a sale. And then it tells you a little bit of the analysis, and then it also gives you recommendations here as to what's the content volume. So this is huge. 470 million people are looking for this. What's SEO? What's the engagement? So this is very, very highly relevant. So you can save yourself time by not even talking about the other things. Let's just talk about these top 3, 4. And then create variations of what we talk about and how we talk about it, how we address it. Gives you some content strategy, gives you some formats and channels as well. So this is one way, and there's other tools that you can probably use for free. If you guys are interested, I can look it up. But just utilize what's out there, because there's a lot of great tools and a lot of free stuff out there already. All right. Let's go back to part 3. Data-driven marketing and what metrics to track. I love that quote, Peter Drucker. If you can't measure it, you can't manage it. If you can't manage it, you can't grow it, you can't increase it, you don't even know what you have. And so many people, they don't even know the smallest metrics in their business. When I ask them, okay, what's your conversion rate, for example? How many people do you have to talk to make a sale? And these are some of the numbers I encourage you to start measuring in order for your business to be growable. Otherwise, you're like flying with the blinders on. You don't know where you're going. You don't know what's working. You don't know what's not working. And if you don't measure the numbers. And I'll share with you a little bit of specifics, what I mean by that. So as an example, one of the tools we use is an active sourcing system, or one of the things that I always recommend experts to start with. Active sourcing means nothing else but on social media, you look for your target audience, which could be hanging out in groups. So if you take life coaching, if you take individuals that want to grow, there are groups everywhere about this topic. So you go look for groups, for example, and then you actively reach out to them with a message that is highly compelling and compatible, not invasive, not pushy, not salesy, very conversational, talking about what it is that you do and getting to know them, start building some rapport. So one of the systems that we implement is the network builder on LinkedIn. So these are the things that we would measure. So you would have to measure, okay, how many messages am I sending? How many people actually favorably respond to my message by connecting with me? On LinkedIn, for example, or on Facebook, it would be how many people befriend you. Then how many people respond? How many people are positively responding? Some might say get lost. Some say, sounds interesting, tell me more, or yes, let's talk. Out of that, how many booked calls? And then how many sales? And when you start measuring all these numbers, there are certain benchmark numbers that are applicable to each step where you can see, okay, I'm doing well, or I'm not doing well, or I'm doing terrible. I need to tweak something. And then you know, okay, I need to do something here, 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 or here. So let's say you get a lot of book calls, but you get no sales. Maybe you need to read a sales book or get on a sales training. Is that making sense? So break down your process on how from first contact until you make a sale, every step that you usually go through with a potential client. When you do that, then you can start measuring all these different components. And when you see, okay, something is not working, I never sell, but I have a lot of people talking to me, then it would be sales skills. If maybe I get nobody connecting, then it would be the way you reach out. If you get quite a lot of negative responses, again, it could be the message or maybe the wrong audience. And then you need to do incremental tweaks. Just change one thing at a time to increase that. So maybe on the sales calls, maybe the next time I'll use a different script, or maybe I'll talk more about the pain, or maybe I'll talk more about my credibility. Whatever it is, just change incrementally and then see what works and then do more of what works. Does that make sense?
Perfectly.
Any questions? Yeah, glad to see your face.
I'm available now from like 3 o'clock our time. So no,
Okay.
I'm here. But so
Very good.
Nice.
So other metrics to track, I highly recommend, is overall profitability. So after, that's very important, especially for solopreneurs, after you paid yourself, what percentage overall is your profitability? Probably anywhere between 20 to 50%. In an expert business, a simple one that doesn't have a team or a lot of expensive systems. What's your overall profitability? What's your cost per lead? How much are you paying per lead? It could be even in time. How much time do you spend to get someone to be interested in what you do, which is a lead? What's your cost per sale if you're doing marketing? So let's say, a simple example, you run Facebook ads, you spend $2,000, you get one client, that means the cost per sale was $2,000. You get 2 clients, cost per sale was $1,000. Make sense? You might get out of the $2,000 ad spend, you might get 100 leads, which would mean cost per lead would be $20.
Yes, please.
Yeah, yes, please, I know. Those days are over, Colin.
They are over, I know.
That's why we're not doing any Facebook ads. What's your sales conversion rate? So again, if you had 100 leads, 2,000 ad spend, 100 leads, 2 conversions would be 2%. But that means, okay, maybe not 100 leads booked an appointment, maybe 10 leads booked an appointment out of the 100, that would be a 20% conversion rate. So these are the most important metrics. And one of the most important one that a lot of people often forget is the last one here, customer lifetime value. What does that mean? And why is it important? It means how much does a customer or client invest with you on average over the time they stay with you. And the way that you can figure this out, if you have an existing business, is you take your annual revenue, let's say 100,000, you had 10 clients on average, and you can do this over multiple years if you've done this for several years. Just take the total revenue, then take the clients, and then how long do they typically stay? So then you divide the 100,000 by 10 because you had 10 clients, which means 10,000 they invested with you per year. And they stayed 1.5 years, which means it would be a $15,000 customer lifetime value. Does that make sense?
Very much so. I've got a little example, if I may share, and
Yes, please do.
don't interrupt your flow. In my previous life, I used to run hotels, build hotels, and was a CEO of many hotels.
Mm-hmm.
And up in Scotland, in my early days, I ran a hotel, and every day a old gentleman used to walk into our hotel. He had Parkinson's, and our bar was quite far into the hotel, so it took him forever to get to the bar. And then he would sit in the bar and he would drink 1.5 pints of beer, 3.5 pints of beer every single day of the year. And he was an awkward customer, and he spilt, and he didn't look good in our bar, and my staff used to complain, can we stop him coming? And he doesn't make it look good in our bar, and all that kind of stuff. And I said to them, think about how much money he spends with us over the year.
Mm-hmm.
Every day he comes in and he spends 2 hours in the bar, 3.5 pints of beer, and it's every single day, 365 days of the year, he spent whatever. And we did a calculation on, I can't remember the numbers now, but he was our highest spending customer in the hotel.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we don't realize the people who come in on a regular basis and spend a little bit with us gives us that lifetime value of that particular person and the customer they bring in. And we shouldn't underestimate the regular customer who spends a little but often.
Yes, very, very true. Thank you.
Yeah.
Very good. And again, it's the numbers that showed the point.
Always the numbers.
The point.
Yeah. Numbers never lie.
Yeah, exactly. Feelings do. Oh, I don't feel good with this customer, but the numbers. So now the formula. So you take your total annual revenue divided by the number of clients, multiply it with the average years they stay with you. If it's less than 1 year, it's just 1. And then the interesting thing you can do with that number, okay, let's say I have 15,000. Let's use this example per client that they spend over their lifetime. Now you can reverse engineer your business. So if we have a 20% profitability, so out of 15,000, 3,000 stay in my pocket. This also is the number, stay in the pocket of the business because I already paid my salary. So that's super important. Pay your salary first when you're calculating the profitability. A lot of coaches don't do that. Now you know how much you could theoretically, in theory, pay per sale and per lead. Okay, so every new client you get spends on average 15,000, out of which 3,000 remains as profit in the business. Now, if you wanted to have a business with 0 profit, you could invest 3,000 per sale, which means you can go look for marketing tools. Nothing's going to cost you 3,000 per sale unless you hire an expensive sales agent. But other than that, anything else is going to be, a couple of hundred per sale or maybe 1,000 per sale. So you will then be able to reverse engineer because you also know how many leads you need. Because okay, out of 10 people I talk to, I sell 1. So you can even reverse engineer the number, the cost per lead. So if someone's trying to sell you a campaign or leads or tangible outcome, all you need to have is your numbers and then do more of what works. Reverse engineer, okay, how much profit do I want to make? How many clients do I need? How many leads do I need? What kind of marketing tools can give me those kinds of leads? I know this is a little bit high level, but I just wanted to bring this to your attention because the first time I learned about this several years ago from one of my business mentors, he showed me how to really scale and grow a business. And this is the first thing you need to be mindful of. Because then everything else is a different perspective. Because, okay, if it costs me 3,000, I mean, if I keep 3,000 out of every client, I gladly pay 1,000 to get that client, because it means 3 times more I make back. But without that number, you're not going to know how can I engage a marketing agency, or how can I engage a salesperson or an agent, or how much could I be paying in commission if you have those numbers, if you don't have those numbers. All right, well, that sums it up a little bit. Compelling offers. Make sure you're putting your money on a champion. You're starting at a higher level. Using AI, really understanding what the market is talking about, and then also tracking some clear metrics and continuing to track them. Are there any questions?
Well, for me, I'm very clear. And, as much as I know a lot about marketing and that kind of thing, it's remembering the basics, I think, sometimes is the most important thing. And, I've taken a page full of notes here just to remind myself of what we should be doing, what metrics we should be looking at the offer. I think I'll put down here the commodity offer or the compelling outcomes. Where should we be focusing on? So I don't actually have a question, but it's interesting for me. I've been in marketing and sales and stuff like that for a long time, but you don't know it all the time, and you don't implement it all the time. So having people like you, Natalie, coming and reminding us about what we should be doing and should be thinking about is incredibly valuable. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you. You're very welcome. So if you want to look for us, connect with me on LinkedIn or go to this website here, outboundmarketingagency.com. We have offers starting at 1,500, so it's not going to break any bank, but it's going to really help you because you're going to start at a different level. If you have an expert helping you with positioning, with offers, with campaigns, and the likes. And I can also offer you a call. I think that's what probably would be most useful to analyze what you're doing, what you might be missing, and what the next possible step for you could be. If that's okay with you, Colin?
Brilliant. Fantastic. That's amazing. Thank you for that.
Let me put that link in the chat as well.
Good. So are you done? Finished?
Yeah.
You are. Good. I think Anil's already fallen off the call. So Eva, firstly, thank you very much for your time and contribution to the conversation we've had today. And Natalie, wonderful, great stuff. Like I said, I've been doing this a long time, but you come along and you remind me about making sure I do the right things at the right time. And then that's what it's all about in business. You only know what you know and you don't know what you don't know. It's always that great phrase. So I really appreciate it. And thank you very much for coming along and sharing your vast knowledge and experience in that world of marketing, which none of us understand anyway, and sharing that with us. So thank you very much for that. Appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
Natalie.
Eva, I hope you got a great insight into this. I know you're still looking at growing your business and launching your business. Hopefully this will give you some insight on what you need to do to get that business up and running and just go and do it. And the Alpha Group is obviously here for you as well if you needed any help and support. I'm pretty sure you can get hold of me as well through our website. So Eva, thank you very much for your attendance as well.
No, thank you very much.